Everyone, welcome back to Mukul Mourya world blog. Myself Kalyani Mahesh. Today we are going to know about solar eclipse. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between earth and the sun, thereby obscuring earth's view of the sun totally or partially. Such an alignment coincides with a new moon, indicating the moon is closest to the plane of the earth's orbit. In a total eclipse, the disk of the sun is fully obscured by the moon. In partial and annular eclipses, only part of the sun is obscured. If the moon were in a perfectly circular orbit and in the same orbital plane as Earth, there would be total solar eclipses every new moon. Instead, because the moon's orbit is tilted at about 5 degrees to Earth's orbit, its shadow usually misses Earth. Solar eclipse therefore happens only during eclipse seasons, resulting in at least 2 and up to 5 solar eclipses each year, no more than 2 of which can be total. Total eclipses are more rare because they require a more precise alignment between the centers of the sun and moon, and because the moon's apparent size in the sky is sometimes too small to fully cover the sun. Total solar eclipses occur rarely at a given place on Earth and average about every 360 to 410 years. An eclipse is a natural phenomenon. In some ancient and modern cultures, solar eclipses were attributed to supernatural causes or regarded as bad omens. Astronomers' predictions of eclipses began in China as early as 4th century BC. Eclipses hundreds of years into the future may now be predicted with high accuracy. Looking directly at the sun can lead to permanent eye damage, so special eye protection or indirect viewing techniques are used when viewing a solar eclipse. Only the total phase of a total solar eclipse is safe to view without protection. Enthusiasts known as eclipse chasers or umbraphiles travel to remote locations to see solar eclipses. There are 4 types of solar eclipses: a total eclipse, annular eclipse, hybrid eclipse, partial eclipse. And the sun's distance from Earth is about 400 times the moon's distance, and the sun's diameter is about 400 times the moon's diameter. Because these ratios are approximately the same, the sun and the moon as seen from Earth appear to be approximately the same size, about 0.5 degree of arc in angular measure. The moon's orbit around the Earth is slightly elliptical as it is Earth's orbit around the sun. The apparent sizes of the sun and moon therefore vary. The magnitude of an eclipse is the ratio of the apparent size of the moon to the apparent size of the sun during an eclipse. An eclipse that occurs when the moon is near its closest distance to Earth can be a total eclipse because the moon will appear to be large enough to completely cover the sun's bright disk or photosphere. A total eclipse has a magnitude greater than or equal to 1.000. Conversely, an eclipse that occurs when the moon is near its farthest distance from Earth can be only an annular eclipse because the moon will appear to be slightly smaller than the sun. The magnitude of an annular eclipse is less than 1. Hybrid eclipse occurs when the magnitude of an eclipse changes during the event from less to greater than 1, so the eclipse appears to be total at locations nearer the midpoint and annular at other locations nearer the beginning and end, since the sides of the Earth are slightly further away from the moon. The Earth's orbit around the sun is also elliptical. Diagrams show the alignment of the sun, moon and Earth during a solar eclipse. The dark grey region between the moon and Earth is umbra, where the sun is completely obscured by the moon. The small area where the umbra touches Earth's surface is whether a total eclipse can be seen. The larger light grey area is the penumbra, in which a partial eclipse can be seen. An observer in the antumbra, the area of shadow beyond the umbra, will see an annular eclipse. The moon's orbit around the Earth is inclined at an angle of just 5 degrees to the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun. Because of this, at the time of new moon, the moon will usually pass to the north or south of the sun. A solar eclipse can occur only when a new moon occurs close to one of the points. The moon's orbit is also elliptical. The moon's distance from the earth can vary by about 6% from its average value. Therefore, the moon's apparent size varies with its distance from the earth, and it is this effect that leads to the difference between total and annular eclipses. The distance of the earth from the sun also varies during the year, but this is a smaller effect. On average, the moon appears to be slightly smaller than the sun as seen from the earth. So the majority of central eclipses are annular. It is only when the moon is closer to the earth than average that a total eclipse occurs. The moon orbits the earth in approximately 27.3 days relative to a fixed frame of reference. This is known as the sidereal month. However, during one sidereal month, earth has revolved part way around the sun, making the average time between one new moon and the next longer than the sidereal month. It is approximately 29.5 days. This is known as synodic month and corresponds to what is commonly called the lunar month. The moon crosses from south to north of the ecliptic at its ascending node and vice versa at its descending node. However, the nodes of the moon's orbit are gradually moving in a retrograde motion due to the action of the sun's gravity on the moon's motion, and they make a complete circuit every 18.6 years. This regression means that the time between each passes of moon through the ascending node is slightly shorter than the sidereal month. This period is called nodical or draconic month. Finally, the moon's perigee is moving forward or precessing in its orbit and makes a complete circuit in 8.85 years. The time between one perigee and the next is slightly longer than the sidereal month and known as the anomalistic month. The moon's orbit intersects with the ecliptic at the two nodes that are 180 degrees apart. Therefore, the new moon occurs close to the nodes at two periods of the year, approximately 6 months apart, known as eclipse seasons, and there will always be at least one solar eclipse during these periods. Sometimes the new moon occurs close enough to a node during 2 consecutive months to eclipse the sun on both occasions in 2 partial eclipses. This means that in any given year there will always be at least 2 solar eclipses, and there can be as many as 5. Eclipses can occur only when the sun is within about 15 to 18 degrees of a node. This is referred to as eclipse limit and is given in ranges because the apparent sizes and speeds of the sun and moon vary throughout the year. In the time it takes for the moon to return to a node, the apparent position of the sun has moved about 29 degrees relative to the nodes. Since the eclipse limit creates a window of opportunity of up to 36 degrees, it is possible for partial eclipses to occur in consecutive months. During a central eclipse, the moon's umbra moves rapidly from west to east across the earth. The earth is also rotating from west to east at about 28 km per minute at the equator, but as the moon is moving in the same direction as the earth's rotation at about 61 km per minute, the umbra almost always appears to move in a roughly west-east direction across a map of the earth at the speed of moon's orbital velocity minus the earth's rotational velocity. The first known telescopic observation of a total solar eclipse was made in France in 1706. 9 years later, English astronomer Edmund Halley accurately predicted and observed the solar eclipse on May 3, 1715. The corona was identified as part of the sun's atmosphere in 1842. It's not a coronavirus, it's a outer layer known as corona. The spectroscope observations were made of the solar eclipse of August 18, 1868, which helped to determine the chemical composition of the sun. Please like, share and subscribe for more information, and tomorrow we will know about lunar eclipse. Until then, keep watching my videos, stay tuned to my channel. Thanks for watching.